Story 5 of The Bet and Other Stories by Anton Chekhov. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Story 5, After the Theatre. Nadya Zelenina had just returned with her mother from the theatre, where they had been to see a performance of Eugene Onegin. Entering her room, she quickly threw off her dress, loosened her hair, and sat down hurriedly in her petticoat and a white blouse to write a letter in the style of Tatiana. "I love you," she wrote, "but you don't love me. No, you don't." The moment she had written this, she smiled. She was only 16 years old, and so far she had not been in love. She knew that Gorny, the officer, and Gronsdiev, the student, loved her. But now, after the theatre, she wanted to doubt their love. To be unloved and unhappy, how interesting! There is something beautiful, affecting, romantic in the fact that one loves deeply while the other is indifferent. Onegin is interesting because he does not love at all, and Tatiana is delightful because she is very much in love, but if they loved each other equally and were happy, they would seem boring instead. "Don't go on protesting that you love me," Nadya wrote on, thinking of Gorny, the officer. "I can't believe you. You're very clever, educated, serious. You have a great talent and perhaps a splendid future waiting, but I am an uninteresting, poor-spirited girl, and you yourself know quite well that I shall only be a drag upon your life. It's true I carried you off your feet, and you thought you had met your ideal in me, but that was a mistake. Already you are asking yourself in despair, 'Why did I meet this girl?' Only your kindness prevents you from confessing it." Nadya pitied herself. She wept and went on. "If it were not so difficult for me to leave mother and brother, I would put on a nun's gown and go where my eyes direct me. You would then be free to love another. If I were to die!" Through her tears she could not make out what she had written. Brief rainbows trembled on the table, on the floor and the ceiling, as though Nadya were looking through a prism. Impossible to write. She sank back in her chair and began to think of Gorny. Oh, how fascinating, how interesting men are! Nadya remembered the beautiful expression of Gorny's face, appealing, guilty, and tender, when some one discussed music with him, the efforts he made to prevent the passion from sounding in his voice. Passion must be concealed in a society where cold reserve and indifference are the signs of good breeding, and he does try to conceal it, but he does not succeed, and everybody knows quite well that he has a passion for music. Never-ending discussions about music, blundering pronouncements by men who do not understand, keep him in incessant tension. He is scared, timid, silent. He plays superbly, as an ardent pianist. If he were not an officer, he would be a famous musician. The tears dried in her eyes. Nadya remembered how Gorny told her of his love at a symphony concert, and again downstairs by the cloakroom. "I am so glad you have at last made the acquaintance of the student Gronsdiev," she continued to write. "He is a very clever man, and you are sure to love him. Yesterday he was sitting with us till 2 o'clock in the morning. We were all so happy. I was sorry that you hadn't come to us. He said a lot of remarkable things." Nadya laid her hands on the table and lowered her head. Her hair covered the letter. She remembered that Gronsdiev also loved her, and that he had the same right to her letter as Gorny. Perhaps she had better write to Gronsdiev. For no cause, a happiness began to quicken in her breast. At first it was only a little one, rolling about in her breast like a rubber ball. Then it grew broader and bigger, and broke forth like a wave. Nadya had already forgotten about Gorny and Gronsdiev. Her thoughts became confused. The happiness grew more and more. From her breast it ran into her arms and legs, and it seemed that a light, fresh breeze blew over her head, stirring her hair. Her shoulders trembled with quiet laughter. The table and the lamp glass trembled. Tears from her eyes splashed the letter. She was powerless to stop her laughter, and to convince herself that she had a reason for it, she hastened to remember something funny. "What a funny poodle!" she cried, feeling that she was choking with laughter. "What a funny poodle!" She remembered how Gronsdiev was playing with Maxim, the poodle, after tea yesterday, how he told a story afterwards of a very clever poodle who was chasing a crow in the yard. The crow gave him a look and said, "Oh, you swindler!" The poodle did not know he had to do with a learned crow. He was terribly confused and ran away dumbfounded. Afterwards he began to bark. "No, I'd better love Gronsdiev," Nadya decided, and tore up the letter. She began to think of the student, of his love, of her own love, with the result that the thoughts in her head swam apart and she thought about everything, about her mother, the street, the pencil, the piano. She was happy thinking, and found that everything was good, magnificent. Her happiness told her that this was not all, that a little later it would be still better. Soon it will be spring, summer. They will go with mother to Gorbiki in the country. Gorny will come for his holidays. He will walk in the orchard with her and make love to her. Gronsdiev will come too. He will play croquet with her and bowls. He will tell funny, wonderful stories. She passionately longed for the orchard, the darkness, the pure sky, the stars. Again her shoulders trembled with laughter, and she seemed to awake to a smell of wormwood in the room, and a branch was tapping at the window. She went to her bed and sat down. She did not know what to do with her great happiness. It overwhelmed her. She stared at the crucifix which hung at the head of her bed, and saying, "Dear God, dear God, dear God." End of Story 5